We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial. You can watch us, Super Talk TV, up and running, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. Those are the big ones. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. Did you see what happened last night in the NHL? Anybody watch the NHL? I'm really interested in this series. It was Diddy Bowl 2 last night.
Electric Boogaloo?
Diddy Bowl 2, Electric Boogaloo, Predators versus Oilers. And it's a best of 3 for the Diddy Bowl. And it's been evened up. The Predators got a win last night over the Oilers.
Hopefully we can take it home.
So we'll have the Diddy Cup final. And that'll be on March 15th at 7 o'clock. Tied 1-1 right now. I just love that I get to make this joke a couple more times. That's what I'm here for. It's good. So I was on Fox Nashville over the weekend. I did Nashville in Focus, and even the Democrats in attendance laughed at the Diddy Bowl joke. So you knew it was good. You knew it works. Diddy Bowl 2 last night, Electric Boogaloo, 4-3, Predators over Oilers. Diddy Bowl 3, Who Bends the Knee, that's on March 15th.
Yeah. My guess is Venezuela. But
I kind of want to go.
It would be fun. Is it here in town?
Nah.
Yeah. I was like, if we were here in town, I'd absolutely go. But we'd also be packed as a city.
Do you think that they sell poutine at the hockey arenas in Canada?
Probably.
I would imagine that they do.
I was like, if they didn't, it'd be very un-Canadian of them.
Do you think we should take a road trip? Should we take the show on the road for the Diddy Bowl?
Where in Canada is it?
Edmonton? I don't know where that is.
I don't know either.
I think it's West Canada.
Probably. Second rate.
I think it's more conservative Canada.
Once they join the country, I'll consider it.
Okay.
51st.
51st state. What's up? Shout out to the 51st
That'll be
state.
Greenland.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it's true.
Come on. It's happening today.
52nd state. All right. Are you excited about the Diddy Bowl, Joan?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Joan has been just yammering about the Diddy Bowl all morning long. I'd like to the point where it's like, okay, Joan,
Someone did give us
save
Preds
it for the
tickets
show.
for Christmas, so we have to schedule to go to a game.
Okay, which game you thinking about going to?
I don't even know. Well, you have suggestions for me?
I don't.
Okay.
I wish I had more information.
This is the most invested Chris has ever been in hockey ever.
So I have to tell you, my daughter is really into the Flyers.
Okay.
Which is,
Okay.
a big thing. She
Philadelphia.
sent
My
me-
kids do the gritty. So
They like gritty?
they do.
Okay.
There's a dance associated with it. That's how I know about it.
So they sent out an email, I guess, to their fans about a game that's coming up. It's the Pride game.
Oh, good.
Got the Pride game at the arena.
That's excited. You guys going to go?
It's definitely not. They have gritty with the Pride flag skating around the.
Yeah. That's so weird.
What? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it.
We're here for hockey, not for indoctrination.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Take the gloves off and hit each other and.
Yeah. When you take the gloves off, I don't want to see manicured nails.
Right.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you. All right. Diddy Bowl 3, March 15th. Mark your calendars.
What a game.
It's the Diddy Cup finals.
It's going to be a slippery one.
The big story on the docket today, one of the big stories, we're drinking water through a fire hose here with the amounts of news that we have to cover. You know, I was talking with Dan during the cross, you probably heard, and he's like, you know, I always run out of time. And Dan has a 4-hour show. So imagine how much I run out of time on a 3-hour show. It really is remarkable how much news is constantly coming out of this administration, and it's hard to remember a time where there wasn't this much news. I'll talk to the guys that have been doing this longer than I have. They're like, man, it used to slow down. There used to be these times over the holidays where things would stop, and we would just be ramping back up, you know, come next week. And it's like, yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. The news just keeps going and going and going, and it seems like every time we get a new story, it defies expectations. It defies logic, how we continue to get these just groundbreaking stories. And yesterday was no different. J.D. Vance and his Secret Service detail exposed by one James O'Keefe and O'Keefe Media Group. Just a little behind-the-scenes stuff. I do know, and I've worked with a couple of the guys on James O'Keefe's team. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to blow his cover. But the team that James O'Keefe has around him is top notch. And when I see them breaking stories like this, man, I'm so happy for those guys. You know, they forced him out of Project Veritas because he told a bit too much truth. And he said, all right, good, later. And he rebuilt O'Keefe Media Group from the ground up, and he's still continuing to do these groundbreaking stories. So let's get to the story. A U.S. Secret Service employee assigned to J.D. Vance was on a Tinder date with some random broad that he had never met before. He found her on the internet, and he decides to give up all sorts of information, leaking sensitive security information to this broad he met on Tinder. What the hell were you thinking? Honestly. Like, it's just insane. I got the audio for you here, and we're going to play some of it. You'll be able to see it on Super Talk TV. The entire report is about 14 minutes long. Now, that's too long to play the whole thing on the radio, but it is not too long for you to take some time today, go over to @ChrisHandOnAir on X, find the report, and share it and watch it. 14 minutes long. This is how it begins.
Can I see your badge again with your photo? You're so cute.
A current Secret Service agent on Vice President J.D. Vance's security detail.
When he's like walking, like, where are you?
If you follow me, we'll have a lease, a minimum head and
gives away vital high-level security information to our undercover journalists.
This is insane. Oh, when I'm covering for him, where, you know, there's this many people in front of him, this many people behind him, you're giving away operational details, and he continues and tells them how many different shifts they have. And I think it's important to understand, you're in D.C., the land of honeypots. Like, by the grace of God, this Tinder broad worked for James O'Keefe and not some nefarious foreign government. But with this kind of stuff, how many nefarious foreign governments aren't doing the same exact thing? It's insane. He gives away more information. Listen to this.
Tells her about detailed future travel plans for the Vice President, and even sends her pictures with location metadata revealing where the President's convoy was located, potentially violating both the Secret Service NDA and United States federal law. And Tomas is fully aware of this. Quote, I sign paperwork, so if I don't have to give out information, I never do, otherwise I get in trouble.
Unless I just met a girl on the internet and I'm trying to impress her, and then I can give out all the information that I want. Are you kidding me? The U.S. Secret Service is investigating and said the employee's security clearance has been suspended and access to agents' facilities and systems revoked as the incident is investigated, opening the door to broader concerns about operational security and an agency-wide retraining order. USS Deputy Director Matthew Quinn told Fox News in a statement the U.S. Secret Service has no tolerance for any behavior that could potentially compromise the safety, privacy, or trust of our protectees. This incident is under investigation, and the employee involved has been placed on administrative leave with his clearance suspended and the access to the agency systems and facilities revoked. The U.S. Secret Service has also issued an order for all personnel to retake the agency's required anti-espionage training in order to ensure all employees are aware of the threats posed by individuals aimed to exploit agency employees for information about our protective operations. How many failures has the Secret Service had? Like, when are they going to root out the rot? It is insane. We just saw a hammer attack on the vice president's residence. Before that, there was the story of the Secret Service agent who left her post at a Trump rally to breastfeed her 2-year-old, which is just insane. Before that, maybe you recall, Donald Trump lost a piece of his ear and almost lost the back of his skull. So, are we going to take this serious? The hell's going on?
You really have to stand in awe of the lack of self-awareness.
There ain't no secret about what we do.
Tomas Escato also reveals that he voted for Biden and that he hates Trump and Vance's immigration policies.
Huh. This is fine, I'm sure, right? A guy that voted for Biden and hates Trump and Vance's policies protecting Vance. I'm sure there's no conflict there.
Did you vote for Biden?
Yes, I did actually.
What do you think about like all the ICE stuff going on?
Yeah, I hate that shit.
Yeah, he hates it. He hates it. Here's the thing. I don't know if he actually voted for Biden. Maybe he's on a Tinder date in D.C. and he's just lying to make it seem like he's a leftist because all the women out there are leftists. But there are pictures of him in this report with Kamala Harris, with Doug Emhoff. He was on Kamala Harris's detail before, and he shows all these different things. But what are we supposed to believe? And at the end of the day, he was giving away information. He was. He should be fired, at the very least. I mean, did you charge this guy with a crime? According to O'Keefe, the agent discussed protective formations, shift schedules, travel movements, and advanced security procedures, allegedly sent images while aboard Air Force Two. Fox News Digital has not independently verified the full contents of the video, but O'Keefe goes on to write that the agent was involved, was recorded on hidden camera, providing an undercover journalist with sensitive security information, allegedly discussed all of those things: protective formations, shift schedules, travel plans, real-time locations. The agent also allegedly shared information sometimes days in advance. Days in advance. Yeah, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? This is the guy who is lined up to be 48, J.D. Vance. And a Secret Service agent could be letting out information that will get him killed. Putting JD at risk, putting his wife at risk, putting their young children at risk. Throw the absolute book at this guy. O'Keefe alleges the agent is a holdover from the Biden administration and that he holds anti-ICE and anti-Trump administration personnel views. We played you that. O'Keefe said his organization coordinated with USSS prior to publication and redacted certain operational details at the agency's request. The U.S. Secret Service is tasked with protecting the president, the vice president, and other designated officials and operates under strict confidentiality rules governing operations. The USSS did not immediately provide a timeline for its completion or say when criminal charges could result or whether they could from the incident. This guy needs to be in jail, I do believe. I don't know what they charge him with, but gee whiz, this is insane. Protect Vance at all costs, protect Trump at all costs, and it does give you a little bit of heartburn when you realize that there are holdovers like this inside the agency in a time when the country is so divided and violence seems to be around every single corner. This kind of lackadaisical approach to security op is insane. Insane. I'm not a trained Secret Service officer. I'm just a dad. I'm a humble meme farmer who happens to have a radio show, and I can look at this and be like, this is one of the most egregious things I've ever seen. This guy's an absolute loser, and he put the vice president's life at risk for a Tinder date. Disgraceful, honestly. 921, Super Talk 99.7 WTN on the way. We got a lot to talk about. Are they going to shut down the government over ICE funding? Is that going to happen? You see, Trump was in Detroit yesterday. Detroit. I don't know if you saw this. He was at the Ford plant, and then he spoke at the Detroit Economic Club. And he talked about the last government shutdown, said that our GDP could have been in the 7 range had it not been for the government shutdown. And now you have rumors that we could be seeing another government shutdown because the Democrats don't want to fund ICE. We'll talk about this on the way. 921 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand here from my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. Gun owners, listen up. There is a huge difference between a real gun safe and a flimsy metal box sold at the big stores. Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville, they only sell the real thing. And you can find out about the real thing on their YouTube page. Just search Parker Safes and Vaults on YouTube. They detail and review every safe that they have in stock. Heavy-duty gun safes built for fire protection, theft deterrence, and securing your firearms. But not just firearms, family heirlooms, photo albums, you name it, they got you covered. These guys are the best. Aaron Parker knows security, Air Force security veteran, former U.S. Park Ranger. Now him and his family run this Christian family business. They've been doing it since 2009 in Shelbyville. So you need to shop at Parker's. 931-842-6445 is the number, or you can find out everything that they have in stock and how to get there. ParkerSafes.com. That's ParkerSafes.com.
up ahead, the U.S. has now begun evacuating some military personnel at a base in Qatar as tensions with Iran are mounting. That story coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 9:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water, LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You're welcome to join the show any way you'd like. You can jump in the most red-pilled and based chat on the internet. That's on our YouTube channel. You can text the show or call the show. Same number for both, 615-737-9986. What is it? What's the number? 9986. I almost said
There you
9987. Don't worry.
Synapses are broken.
I'll figure it out soon. I promise, guys.
Yeah, guys, he's still learning the job. He's still a little new.
615-737-9986. You ever have that? Like you know something, but you just brain fart?
All the time.
Yeah,
All the time.
love it when it's live on the radio. Renee in Clarksville called into the show. What's up, Renee? How are you?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. What do you got?
Well, okay, I am a Donald Trump supporter. I voted for him 3 times. I don't agree with everything he does, especially this whole interest rate for the credit cards. It kind of falls on the same premise of Biden trying to, forgive everybody's student loan debt. Here's the thing. I understand that there's so many people out there that don't know how to use credit. I didn't know how to use credit. Mm-hmm. I paid off $23,000 in credit card and personal loan debt and
God bless you.
debt last year. And I'm in the process of paying the house off. And I'll be done April of next year. So
that's awesome.
I'm
Congrats.
super excited about that. I'm kind of, I don't know if this is allowed, but I'm kind of a Dave Ramsey follower.
Yep.
So, and if anybody doesn't know who Dave Ramsey is,
I think this audience is very familiar with Dave Ramsey.
So that being said, I don't agree with this whole 10% interest rate on the credit cards.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm with you. It's like one of those things that feels good, but in practice, it feels a lot like price controls, and all of the price controls ideas come from like a good place that does feel good. I mean, the market usually corrects itself, right? And I understand some interest rates are insane. But you also have to understand that the majority of American people who are going to get a break on that, they're not going to move the money that they were paying in interest to principal for the next year when they cap that, right? So they're just going to kick the can down the road.
The minimum balance like they are because God bless America. That's the way it is.
And then you have to look at what are the credit cards companies going to do in response? Well, they're probably going to shrink the amount of credit that they give out. So like. Exactly. Congrats! You had a $10,000 creded limit. Now that's a $250 credit limit, right? Or you're going to just not be approved at all, and people are going to be forced to go to payday loans.
Trust me, I'm in the payday loan capital of Tennessee, which is right here, Fort Campbell.
If you think that credit card companies are bad, payday loans are far
horrible.
Worse.
I had to use them before.
I hear you.
They are horrible. They are very predatory.
Yep.
And the thing is that education is the key. People need to know what you're signing up for.
Yep.
And it is actually in all that whole big disclaimer that you got to sign. It's in there.
Yeah. But it looks like a vaccine insert. Nobody ever reads those. But what I would say is I do agree. Financial education is key. I don't like this policy. If it sounds good, it'll only last a year. I don't think it's going to make or break a Trump economy. I think it feels good, and it might help for some of the low IQ voters for midterms. That being said, I don't like it. But what are you going to do at this point? It looks like they're going to be moving forward with that as of January 20th.
Oh gosh! Well, hopefully they don't move forward with the 50-year mortgage.
Yeah,
because that's insanity on steroids.
Yep.
I mean,
I will say with the 50-year mortgage, there is a land of opportunity there. Especially as we're going to be pushing these big, BlackRock, Blackstone out of the single family homes. If you're an investor, being able to flip those homes and have that lower payment, that will, I mean, there is opportunity there, but I do worry that it hurts a lot of regular Americans.
It will hurt a lot of irregular. I have a 30-year mortgage. I bought my house in '09, so I have, so I'm not, in the three digits, but it's still, I can't tell you how much peace I have that I don't owe anybody for a credit card or a car payment or a loan payment.
Yep, I'm with you.
It really is peace.
Yep.
And you are solving for peace when you pay this stuff off.
100%, Renee. Couldn't agree more. Hey, we're up against it, but I appreciate the call, and I appreciate you bringing up the topic. I haven't had a chance to talk about it. 932, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Evacuations have now begun at a U.S. military base in Qatar, where the U.S. has a major presence. The Wall Street Journal is reporting it comes as tensions escalate between Washington and Tehran. On Sunday, Iran warned that it could strike U.S. bases in the Middle East, in shipping lanes, or in Israel if the U.S. takes action on Iran. The foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland are due at the White House today for a meeting with Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio. They'll talk about President Trump's intent to acquire Greenland.
Ahead of the meeting, the heads of the governments of Denmark and Greenland reiterated that they intend to stick together. That despite President Trump's insistence that the U.S. must take the island, that if it doesn't, Russia or China will. Anders Vistisen is a Danish member of the European Parliament.
All of the arguments simply doesn't hold water.
Vistisen says long-standing treaties with Denmark permit the U.S. to base troops in Greenland and to protect it under the NATO umbrella. He adds it's America's soft power that's now on the line.
And that is eroding very, very fast and very, very rapidly with this kind of talk.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Wilson County investigators have a mystery on their hands. A woman was shot to death in her home on Monday night. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac.
This happened Monday night along Renea Drive, and neighbors tell us that they heard several gunshots Monday night, and then they took cover and called police. And when deputies arrived, they found a woman who was shot to death inside of her home. Investigators say this was not random, and they are treating it as a homicide.
Investigators are asking neighbors for doorbell camera footage to help them identify the suspect. That's the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Glock Store. For years, I've been talking about the Glock Store. I love the Glock Store. That's where I train. That's where I get firearms. But have you heard about the latest Glocks that they have in stock, the Gen 6? These are unbelievable. And, of course, the Glock Store has them first. They got the new optic system, the RTF6 texturing, the enlarged beaver tail, the flat face trigger, the trigger guard undercut, the integrated thumb rest. I could go on and on and on. These Glocks are unbelievable. They're the most refined stock Glocks ever produced. And as you might expect, Glock Store received their first shipment of Gen 6 G17s, 19s, 45s, and before they could even put them in the little glass showcase, they were gone. That's because the Glock Store is letting you pre-order these bad boys, so you can be one of the first to get your hands on them. And as a thank you, you mentioned my name, you mentioned the Chris Hand Show. When you pre-order, you'll get a free magazine, an extra magazine, when you pick up your new Gen 6 Glock. So here's what you do: go down to the Glock Store, check out the Gen 6 Glocks. Hold them, feel them, shoot them. If you like them, place your pre-order. When you pick it up, you mention the Chris Hand Show, boom, extra magazine. Limited time offer, only from the Glock Store, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. 938, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Ann. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like and subscribe. Share the show with your friends. Why would you want to watch a radio show on your TV? We got video elements for all the audio you hear. It's especially helpful when we're playing audio from Democrats because it might sound good, but when you look at their face, you can just tell that they're lying. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you look at them, you're like, yeah, I knew I shouldn't trust you. I got this audio here. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. Keith is exactly, he's one of those guys. You can look at him and tell that he is lying to you. Big story still in the country. Minneapolis, obviously. Major story. And Keith Ellison, he had the audacity to go on CNN yesterday, and he said, if you're digging into Renee Good's ties to activist groups like Ice Watch, you're smearing the victim. Smearing the victim. It's insane. I got an email last night. I think this guy works at the Tennessean. Before I get to this Keith Ellison audio, let me do this. George Pogue. Have you heard of George Pogue? He emailed me from an email that says at Tennessean.com. I'm assuming that's the Tennessean. I looked up his articles. I couldn't find any. Maybe he's just not talented enough to get them published. But he sent me an email. He said, Mr. Hand, over the last week, your snarky comments about the Jan 6 riots, your defense of ICE thugs, and your trashing of a woman who was killed in Minneapolis have been disgusting. But knowing your fawning worship of Trump and Vance and your cheerleading for everything their administration says and does, I'm not surprised. I'm glad Nashville has WPLN providing real news as an alternative to your station's right-wing fantasies. I said, George, thanks for taking the time to email. I do appreciate you at least listening to the other side, in all honesty. I think the former Republican label in your email signature is disingenuous, as are the rest of your comments. But hey, if you're the same George that used to write for The Leaf in Tennessee, and because obviously I did my research on this guy, you're welcome to join the show anytime and have the convo on air, because these people just call you names. And when you point out evidence about what's been going on behind the scenes, they just put their fingers in their ear and go, la, 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 la. And Keith Ellison last night was a huge example of that on CNN. They said, if you're looking into the background of Renee Nicole Good, you're smearing the victim. Is this me talking trash about the victim? How many times did I say it's a tragedy? It is. I feel for her kids. It's a tragedy of her own making. And she was working behind the scenes with groups that were actively impeding and obstructing ICE officials. But we don't want you to look into it, says the left.
Times reports that federal investigators, they're looking into Renee Good's possible ties to activist groups protesting the administration's immigration efforts. Do you believe that inquiry is a fair line of inquiry for them to pursue?
I think it is smearing the victim. I think that's what it is. And it's also trying to impugn some negativity to First Amendment activity.
It's not smearing the victim. It's simply trying to bring all the facts into the conversation. Remember, they told us that she was just a mom who dropped her kids off at school. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time and got spooked. That was the original narrative that we got from the left. We need to dig into the background so that way we can debunk the narrative of these leftists because the truth matters. And the truth is, Renee Nicole Good was a leftist activist. She was working with Ice Watch. She was impeding and obstructing all day. She was getting a kick out of it. She played stupid games and she won stupid prizes. I still don't think that it was necessary for her to die, and I wish that she hadn't. But she wouldn't have had she either complied with the lawful orders of ICE agents, been at home with her kids, or been at work. Then it begs the question, was that work for her and was she getting paid? But don't ask those questions, says Attorney General Keith Ellison. It's like, you don't really have to even ask the questions. If you listen and you pay attention enough, the leftists tell you the truth every now and again. Joy Reid was on the Angela Yee Way Up show. This is an iHeartRadio podcast. Angela Yee is one of them hip hoppers. She was originally on The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne. That didn't work out. She was on Sirius XM for a long time as well. But Joy Reid was on her podcast, and she says, yeah, Renee Good was trained, and she was part of a network that was using white bodies to impede ICE.
This woman was part of a group of people who they train to try to be ICE interrupters. And what they try to do is observe what ICE is doing, film them, and try to use their white privilege, to be honest. They're mainly white people.
Which is what we ask.
Which is what we ask them to do, right? Because black people, like, we can't put our bodies on the line because cops will shoot us. And so the presumption had been, particularly a white woman, because remember, part of the rationale for doing this with ICE is to save white women, pristine white women, from being ravaged by, criminal brown men. So white women, have been taking the lead in being the ones to step forward.
Wow, stunning and brave. Yes, actually, one of the reasons that we want to get rid of illegal aliens is because of the crime that we have seen perpetrated on the women in our society. Women like Laken Riley, women like Rachel Marin, women like Jocelyn Nungary, and so many others. So many others. If you're not watching on the YouTube stream, it is important to point out that Joy Reid, and she's glowing. She's got this nice sweatshirt on that says F Trump, F ICE, Free Palestine, Free DC, Libertad Puerto Rico, the Free the Congo, Free Ukraine. She wants to free Sudan. She wants for everybody to be free. Stunning and brave. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. Let's go to Brian on the road. What's up, Brian? How are you?
What's up, man? Good morning. You got me thinking since I've called and sat on hold just about a second or two from Mason. And I don't know why Joy Reid don't have one that says F me on it, but you know what? Nobody probably would. So if she put that on there, it wouldn't matter.
No, she might actually sell a sweatshirt.
It'd be false advertising. But she's right. There are these stupid white women, and there's a lot of brilliant white women out there, but they're not going to get any credit for this. But there are a lot of stupid ones.
Well,
and that's the key.
It's toxic empathy that has been redirected. Like the natural protective instincts of a woman that would normally be directed to her family has been hijacked by leftist ideology and has now been supplanted and used for other victim groups. And we see it with the trans ideology, and we also see it here with the illegal aliens or neighbors, as they like to say.
That's very, very well put, and that's 100% accurate. But here's the thing. They buy into this stuff, so that makes them stupid. And the sad part is God gave them a brain just like he did the men. And for anybody, men too, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of stupid men out there that that's who's causing the division in the church. That's why we don't go to church like we should and do things like we should correctly and lead our families.
Yep.
And have children and get married like Charlie Kirk was a huge fan of doing.
Yep. And
we're just losing society that way. But we got to have men like you, bro, that stand up, not scared. That guy from the Tennessean, what an idiot. But you know what?
I invited him on the show. I don't get an email back. Listen, I'd have the conversation. I'd invite him in studio. We could have a sit down.
That's right. He won't come, though, because he's scared, and he's a coward. That's how they are. That's how they operate, man.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Hey, Brian, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for calling in, as always. Let's go to Mike in Nashville. What's up, Mike? You doing all right? Mike, Mike, you stay working. Mike is always hustling. Mike is double timing it. What's up, man? You doing all right?
Well, well, you know I'm a truck driver. That's how we make money. We got to keep. When the truck don't move, I don't make no money. So, you got to keep those wheels rolling. It's a new year in 26. But unfortunately, it looks like the leftists, the real extreme leftists, haven't left their stupid ideas in 25. Unfortunately, Chris, they bring them right along with them in 26, and it's disgusting. Last night, Chris, I looked at a video on YouTube, and maybe you can bring up this video yourself, and you can play it for your listeners. Do you know what these idiots are doing in Minnesota? A week after that woman got killed, I think last Tuesday or Wednesday, this woman got killed in Minnesota. You still got protesters out there, and what their bright idea is now, they went to a hotel in Minnesota, Minneapolis, where the ICE units are staying at, and they're out there in the parking lot with these horns and drums and, and they're saying, F ICE, get the hell out of town, let's do that. All night long, they're trying to aggravate these guys so they don't get no sleep or no rest.
So
they're standing outside of an ICE hotel in Minnesota. What'd you say?
It's so funny you mentioned that. So we had my friends Bo Diddle and Gabe Victel in yesterday, and they were in Minneapolis over the weekend. And I don't expect. I know you're busy, so I don't expect you to catch the whole show. But what they said is that at that hotel, there actually weren't any ICE agents staying there. These leftists were so stupid that they were just trying to cause ruckus and noise, and the only people that they were affecting were law-abiding citizens that had nothing to do with any of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how stupid these guys are. And now they're going, like you said. It's obvious that woman. They've shown the video over and over and over where the woman actually tried to run over this guy.
Yeah.
And yet these people still protested night after night. And the reason why they're doing that is because the bogus mayor that they got up there is continuing this rhetoric that she was murdered and that he wants the ICE people out of Minnesota instead of trying to cooperate like Tom Homan said. Instead of cooperating with the ICE people and getting these bad people, illegals, these Somalians and people off the street and out of the country, they're going against them. And as long as they continue doing that, Chris, they're going to continue having – but it's obvious now, one thing right quick, and maybe you can show the video. It's obvious that Antifa has got into Minnesota. And here's what I want to say about that, Chris. Anybody that doesn't live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that's being arrested, these out-of-town agitators, those people should be penalized to the fullest extent of the law because they have no business. If you don't live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you don't have no business protesting in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I'm with you, Mike, and I appreciate it. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the show. 615-737-9986. Yeah, Mike is right. But yeah, that video, Bo and Gabe were in here yesterday. If you didn't hear that interview, you can check the podcast. They were in Minnesota, Minneapolis all weekend long. That hotel that they were that those lunatics were banging on the window had no ICE agents in there at all, which is, I mean, it's classic. It's hilarious. 615-737-9986. I got time for one more call. Jim in Bethlehem, real quick. What do you got? Jim.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. What do you got?
I was just wondering if I could get on Tinder and put in there the title, I'd like to date a Secret Service, a young lady's Secret Service who knew Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, ate right, exercised all the time, and yada, yada, yada. Can I put that into Tinder and get some fun going?
I'm sure you could. As long as you're a pro leftist, you'll get some bites. That is a worm on the hook for sure. 951 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Up ahead, more victims of an elementary school teacher charged with rape of a minor have now come forward. That story is coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. Headlines on the way. I'm Chris Hand, and the show is brought to you by Better Water, LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We had Mike call in earlier. I don't know if Mike jumps in the YouTube chat, but I just got to say, the YouTube chat, huge fans of Mike. Mike, you should jump in the YouTube chat and shower yourself with the love. I'd be feeling pretty good if they talked about me the way they talk about Mike. Sadly, they don't.
Yeah.
Sadly, they don't.
A little divided.
Donald Trump feeling pretty good yesterday, talking to the Detroit Economic Club, saying everything's good. Business is booming.
Right now, I'm feeling pretty good, though, I will say. Oh, you're so lucky to be here. Under our administration, growth is exploding, productivity is soaring, investment is booming, incomes are rising, inflation is defeated, America is respected again like never before, and other than that, we're not doing that well.
Trump had a lot to say at the Economic Club, and then news came out this morning that once again shows Trump is right about everything. In Trump's economy, Americans are spending more money. The confidence is there for the consumer.
Retail sales for November, a powerful up 0.6 on the headline. That would equal July to find a stronger number. You're in June of last year when you're up 1%. Strip out autos, it still remains rather strong, up 0.5%, stronger than we were anticipating, much stronger than the revised up 0.2 in the rearview mirror. Strip out autos and gas, and it's still hot, up 0.4, better than expected, equals the slight downward revision to last month from 0.5% to up 0.4, and the core retail sales number up 0.4. That's also strong.
Have you noticed a common theme when these numbers come out under the Trump administration? They're always doing better than the experts expected. Maybe it's just me, but it feels like since Donald Trump has reclaimed power in January of 2025, all of the experts said doom was coming. The tariffs were going to wipe everything out. Side note, SCOTUS has still not given us a decision on the tariff case. They dropped 3 opinions today, none of them on the tariffs. We got to wait a little bit longer for that. I was listening to Brian and Dan this morning, and Brian said something I tend to agree with. The longer it goes, the better it looks for Trump. But at every turn, the experts have said that Donald Trump is going to crash the economy, that Donald Trump is going to fail. And every time we get a report, it defies the experts. Donald Trump was talking about the GDP yesterday at the Detroit Economic Club. He said if it wasn't for that government shutdown, we could have hit 7% GDP. Now get this. First, I believe him. Secondly, the Democrats are already eyeing their next government shutdown. Why do they want to shut down the government this time? Well, because they want to abolish ICE. We'll talk about it on the way. 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There are new charges that may be coming for a Decatur County physical education teacher. Alan Maxwell was arrested at his home on Friday. Now he's behind bars for the rape of a young child as more victims have now come forward, according to the Sheriff's Office. News 2's Peyton Kennedy.
Sheriff's Office says right now Maxwell is in a holding facility. During the prior investigation, he was placed on administrative leave and banned from all school campuses and communications with students and staff. Alan Maxwell was listed as a PE teacher at Decaturville Elementary School. The district attorney is continuing the investigation.
Now, anyone with additional information is being urged to call the sheriff or to call the DA's office. A Lebanon man who was set to go on trial this year for the death of his wife took the courtroom by surprise yesterday by admitting that he did it. Stephen Yarbrough telling the judge he shot his wife Katara during an argument in their apartment in 2024. He was immediately sentenced to life in prison. The couple has 4 children, 2 of whom are minors. and they are being cared for by family. Former President Bill Clinton and his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, are both defying congressional subpoenas from the House Oversight Committee on its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Committee Chair James Comer says that the Clintons aren't being accused of wrongdoing. He wanted them to testify before the committee about what they may have known about Epstein. The Clintons, in a letter, said that they've already tried to tell the committee what they know, and they also consider it to be a meritless ask of them. They have called the investigation partisan. Here's James Comer about that today.
We're going to vote on it in committee Wednesday, so we're giving plenty of notice. We're having a markup, a regularly scheduled markup for the House Oversight Committee. We will mark up criminal contempt of Congress charges for both Clintons for defying a legal subpoena.
For the first time in 50 years, the U.S. has experienced negative net migration. The Brookings Institution reporting that it is due to a large drop in entries into the U.S., but also an increase in ICE removals of illegals and to self-deportations. Brookings expects it's a trend that'll continue this year. If all goes according to plan, the 4 members of SpaceX Crew 11 will return to Earth tomorrow morning. They're coming home a month earlier than had been planned.
3, 2. The August 1st launch was perfect. Liftoff. Go Thomas. Go NASA. Go. 5 months later, someone got sick. NASA has refused to offer specifics about the first medical evacuation in the 25-year history of the ISS. But assuming the undocking goes smoothly this afternoon, the 4 astronauts, 2 from the U.S., 1 from Russia, and 1 from Japan, will splash down off the California coast before sunrise Thursday. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That is the latest news. Stick around for a wet forecast next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
As of this morning, Core and
10:06, Super Talk. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, betterwater.com for your water filter. You can listen to us anywhere, iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch us, Super Talk TV's on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Hit like, hit subscribe. If you're on a digital platform, hit share. We appreciate you doing that and helping us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. The more people that hear the truth, the better the country will be. Yesterday, Donald Trump did his best take on the economy. He was at the Detroit Economic Club. He was funny a couple times, absolutely hilarious. We'll bring you some of those moments. He did flip off a Ford worker who called him a pedophile protector, which I loved. I thought it was based. I tell the guy to go screw himself. Good, he did. And I'm here for it. We'll get into that as well. He sat down. He had an interview. We didn't sit down. It was like a weird, awkward standing interview with CBS. But they had a CBS interview as well. We'll bring you some of that. But the Economic Club, he said, guys, growth is exploding in the U.S. If you were with us moments ago, you heard the consumer spending numbers from CNBC, again, defying expectations. Donald Trump laid this all out yesterday, saying that we're doing better than we've ever done before. And you know what? He says if it wasn't for the Democrats shutting down the government over the health care for illegal aliens, we'd be doing a heck of a lot better.
As of this morning, core inflation for the past 3 months has been just 1.6%. The numbers we just announced just before I came on stage. And GDP is smashing expectations with the fastest growth for this country in many years. The fourth quarter is projected at 5.4%, and that's despite the Democrat shutdown where we lost at least 1.5 points. You know, the Democrat shutdown, we would have had close to 7. Think of that, close to 7 they were projecting to, the fakers were projecting to. And if we keep deregulating and adding more capacity, like I saw today at Ford, and if we don't raise interest rates every time good news is mentioned. You know, in the old days, I'm probably old. I used to be up at these lecterns and I'd say I'm younger than pretty much everybody in the room. Now I say I'm older than pretty much everybody in the room.
I don't want to bury the lead here, but what he said was if it wasn't for the Democrat shutdown, the longest in U.S. history, we would have been at not 5.4% GDP, but basically at 7% GDP. And that's Donald Trump's take. I'm going to agree with that. I trust the president. I trust his advisors because every time they've said something, they've come out on the right side of it, where the experts have come out on the wrong side of it. But don't tell a Democrat because they'll lose their mind. The Democrats are already plotting their next government shutdown. Because I do believe the Democrats are rooting against this country just to spite Trump. I think that they would cut off their nose to spite their face if it made Orange Man look bad. But they're already plotting another government shutdown. This time, the hang-up is going to be funding for ICE. So get ready for that. Come the end of January, they're going to say, oh, it's an invasion. They're occupying the streets. We can't fund this. Oh, say her name, Renee Nicole Good. Get ready. That's coming. That's on the docket. Democrats are already planning it.
Maybe looming here in January. Some Democrats threatening to turn off the lights in a funding fight over immigration enforcement.
You're not ruling out a potential government shutdown over this battle for DHS reforms.
That's a decision for Republicans.
But you don't rule it out.
They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. If they don't want to work with Democrats and shut down the government, that's up to them.
Yep, so we're going to get the same talking points as well. Get ready. Just get ready for it. They're going to tell you, oh, well, the Senate, they hold in the Senate, the House, and the presidency. This is the Republican shutdown, and the American public is going to see through it just like they saw through it last time. The American public is going to say bovine scatology. The Democrats are already plotting their next shutdown, and the Republicans are already thinking about what to say to them. Spoiler alert, it goes a bit like this. Shove it. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson.
I am concerned about that, and we should not be limiting funding for Homeland Security at a dangerous time. We need public officials to allow law enforcement to do their job.
Are you confident you can prevent a government shutdown?
I am. I think we will.
Speaker Johnson at the end there saying he is confident that he can prevent a government shutdown. The Democrats are absolutely going to make ICE funding one of the priorities. They're going to try to defund ICE. There's a nice email going around for Democrat talking points in the lead up to the midterms. And one of the things they want to stop Democrats from saying is abolish ICE, because it is so wildly unpopular with your average American. The mass deportations got the president elected. We want to see more, not less, actually. I'm here for the mass deportations. Optics be damned. But the Democrats, they're going to lean in on defunding ICE. And if we don't defund ICE, there's going to be a government shutdown. You can feel it in your bones. Everybody knows what's coming. Senator Tina Smith out of the lousy state of Minnesota, don't you know, was on CNN last night. And even Tina Smith wouldn't say if she would support another Democrat shutdown over defunding ICE.
When you mention an option that you could have here on Washington, on Capitol Hill, would you be willing to shut the government down when it comes to ICE funding, like some of your Democratic colleagues have suggested?
Well, listen, what I have said is that I can't see any way that I could provide more funding to an agency that is completely out of control.
When
you can't provide funding to an agency that's completely out of control? I don't know if we can provide funding to states that are completely out of control, like sanctuary states like Minnesota. Maybe that needs to be off the table too. They're looking at it. They're February 1st, they're saying they're going to stop funding sanctuary cities. All the federal money is going to dry up. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but she can't say it's a good idea. Listen, it's not something that she's going to support. Senator Tina Smith out of Minnesota. Get ready. That's coming. Now, when they say that ICE is an occupying force, they're invading, make sure you remind everybody they wouldn't be in the streets if Minnesota was allowing them in the prisons and the jails to get the individuals on ICE detainers. Same goes for Illinois. Same goes for California. Same goes for New York. What's the common thread between those states? Oh, that's right. Run by lousy Democrat governors. Weird. Listen, all that be damned, the president is going to drag those Democrats kicking and screaming into prosperity, whether they like it or not. And again, yesterday, he called out the experts, the so-called experts on the economy, while speaking at the Detroit Economic Club, saying that they've been wrong about everything, up to and including tariffs. Again, if you're just joining the show, SCOTUS dropped some opinions today. They have not dropped the tariff argument. I do agree with our friend Brian Wilson. The longer this goes, the better it looks for Trump, but they haven't released that opinion yet. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer. But Trump said the experts were wrong about tariffs. And yes, they were.
Every prediction the critics made about our tariff policy has failed to materialize. The evidence shows overwhelmingly that the tariffs are not paid by American consumers, that they're paid by foreign nations and middlemen. And Scott went over that with us before, and they're paid by middlemen. They raise the thing. Countries get involved. They pay them because otherwise they won't have companies. They won't be viable. And we're the big beneficiary. Once again, the so-called experts were 100% wrong, and Trump was right. People of Michigan were 100% right. You elected the right guy. If you had the other person, everybody, we wouldn't even be having a meeting today, probably. There'd be no meeting.
Could you imagine what the economy would look like under Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? Look at what Minnesota looks like under Tim Walz. Everything would be in shambles. Tariffs are working. Supreme Court needs to rule in the favor of Trump. That's what we need. Trade has been rebalanced, manufacturing being reshored. Where is the negative impact of the tariffs that all the experts said was coming? We're still waiting. He also said if you're anti-tariff, you're actually pro-Chinese. And then he took some shots at the Koch brothers.
But it was in 1929, because a lot of people, the anti-tariff people. Now, an anti-tariff person is a pro-Chinese person, like Koch. This guy's fought me in every election I've ever been in, and I've kicked his ass. He inherited a lot of money, and I don't know the gentleman. But he fights me, and then he goes out and says, I made more money with Trump than I ever made in my life. And then he supports these other people that were total losers. Gives them a lot of money, but he made more money. Everybody makes money with me. I always made money for people. And now it's tariffs that are making money for Michigan.
Calls out the Koch brothers. Big fan of that. Big fan of that. This might get me in trouble. Do you know who the Koch brothers finance here in Tennessee? It would be Americans for Prosperity. The same organization that endorsed Nikki Haley for president. Now, listen, I know some good people that work at Americans for Prosperity. And at times, our goals align. But I'm not a huge fan. I'll be perfectly honest. I like some of the people, but the organization as a whole, meh. That's the Koch brothers, who Donald Trump said have fought against him every election. And he kicked their ass every election. Americans for Prosperity. They endorsed Nikki Haley. How's she doing? Has anybody heard from Nikki? Should we check on Nikki Haley? Somebody check on Nikki Haley. President Trump continues talking about the fraud in the United States. This is a big point of discussion. And the fraud in the United States is absolutely rampant. And he said if we canceled the fraud, we'd have a balanced budget.
Just Somali. It is them, but it's not just. There are many other places, many other people. The whole country, if we stop this fraud, this massive fraud, we're going to have a balanced budget. That's how much money you're talking. We'll have a balanced budget without all the growth I'm talking about. And then you add the growth, we got one hell of a country.
He's right. What did Scott Bessent say yesterday? We played the audio. He had an interview with Christopher Rufo from The Blaze, I believe it was. He said the amount of fraud that we get in a year in America is $600 billion. Da-na-na, da-na-na. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, I did the Dr. Evil pinky because that's what it feels like. What are we doing? What are we doing? The amount of fraud. It infuriates him. It infuriates all of us. We pay so much in taxes, and then to see what we're seeing, it's insane. That doesn't even, and that's just the fraud. That's not even talking about like the legitimate payments when we're funding transgender comic books in Uruguay or diversity musicals in Ireland, or what was it was like we sent a bunch of condoms to Mozambique. All we got out of it were some balloon animals. So, great. We're great work, guys.
Not even that good balloon animals.
No, they weren't even great. Just weird balloon animals. That's what we get. It's a mess. Trump is trying to clean it up. Minnesota is really where a lot of the conversation moves to at the Detroit Economic Club. And he talks about the child care fraud that we're seeing in Minnesota and how they're gonna cut that off. They're going to require proof of attendance to receive federal funding for child care. And they're going to freeze all welfare payments going to illegal immigrants effective immediately.
We've frozen all children's payments to those states that we're talking about, and we will now require proof of attendance in order to receive federal funding for child care or any of that. How about all these child care places in Minnesota where there is no children? They go there, they get paid millions and millions of dollars. The biggest operation in all of Minnesota had no children. And we pay millions of dollars. They're scammers. They always will be. And we're getting them out, and we're not going to pay them. We're not going to pay Minnesota. Right, Scott? We're not paying Minnesota any more money for any of that crap. It's a big scam. It's a giant scam run by an incompetent, crooked governor. He's an incompetent, crooked guy. And also we're freezing any and all welfare payments going to illegal immigrants that will start effective immediately. So when illegals come into California, Gavin Newsom, they come into California and they send us bills for people coming in. We're not paying it.
Why were we paying it in the first place? Remember when they told us that those payments weren't happening, and then we're like, yeah, but look over here, with the proof, and they were like, no one's illegal on stolen land. So, okay, I got it.
So we're working on that very strongly. Just don't pay it. As Nancy Reagan would say, just say no. You remember Nancy Reagan? Just say no to drugs. It's a little more difficult than that, I guess, right? But just say no. Additionally, from this moment forward, if you're on public assistance like almost all Somalis are, did you see where 94% of them are on public assistance? You can't wire money out of the country back to your bank account from where you came. But more importantly, we probably aren't even going to give them the money anymore the money going to them because of the tremendous abuse and probably illegality being perpetrated on our country. We're not going to give them the money. We're not giving them the money.
I love it. I love the illegal aliens not being able to wire money out of the country. I think that's a huge deal, not just in the Somali community, because we've seen the stories, the suitcases full of millions going through airports. But Mexico, same kind of thing. Their economies are so dependent on remittances from the United States of America. So they come in here, they steal jobs from Americans by undercutting American workers. Then half of what they make doesn't even go back into the American economy. It leaves the country entirely. They'll tell you though, illegal aliens pay taxes. Oh, they pay sales tax and they pay all the taxes, all that stuff. And it's like, okay, but they send half of their money out of the country and it doesn't even make its way into our economy. So your argument is null and void, sir. I got more from President Trump at the Economic Club of Detroit. We'll talk about that on the way. 1022 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Calling the water or in your basement or crawl space an inconvenience is the understatement of 2026. Hey, it's Chris Hand here from my friends at United Structural Systems. January is a wet month, and when water shows up where it doesn't belong, it's going to undermine your home's foundation. This is why I trust the guys at United Structural Systems. USS has been protecting homes since 1994. They don't guess, and they don't patch problems. The experts at USS are going to find where the water's coming from, build a customized waterproofing solution that actually lasts and is backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. They use American-made materials, proven systems. They stand behind their work. No shortcuts, no pressure, just honest answers and permanent solutions. If you're seeing moisture, cracks, sagging floors, don't wait for it to get worse. Call United Structural Systems today. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. USSTN.com.
Republican lawmakers are planning to introduce tomorrow regarding immigration and what Florida health officials just discovered about baby formula. That and more at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Looking forward to the baby formula stuff. Joan Jones in the newsroom. She'll be coming to you with headlines in about 4 minutes on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, and you can watch the show on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe while you're doing things on the internet. Find me on any social media platform that's available at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. We're playing this audio from Donald Trump at the Detroit Economic Club. That's you got to say Detroit. That's what I was told when we moved there. My first daughter was born in Detroit. They said, bro, if you say Detroit. Because I was on the radio. I was doing top 40 music radio. But it was fun. We had fun. They said if you say Detroit, everyone's going to know you're not from here. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb. You say Detroit. Yes, sir. Detroit it is. That stuck with me.
What if you just skip the vowel in between to go Detroit?
Nope.
That's still more a duh, though.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count. You're actually an out-of-towner.
Sacrilege.
Mm-hmm. You got to check in. You got to check in.
Fair enough.
Shout out to Trick. Some people will get the reference. Others won't. Detroit Economic Club. Donald Trump has some thoughts about Tim Walz.
So suspended nearly 8,000 SBA loans, Small Business Association loans, to suspected scammers in Minnesota, of which there are many. It's a great state. It was a great state. Now it's getting destroyed by that stupid governor. What a stupid guy he is. But he's a crook. I mean, he's an incompetent guy, but he's a crook. He allowed this to go. You can't have corruption on a scale that nobody's ever seen before, and you're sitting as a governor and you don't know what's going on. It's impossible, even though he's a stupid guy. We're investigating large-scale visa fraud.
He had to know what was going on. Donald Trump is absolutely right, and that's why he stopped running for re-election for governor of Minnesota. That's why they're leaning so hard into the Renee Nicole Good shooting. In a normal scenario, you wouldn't have this kind of outrage. Hell, had Renee Nicole Good been killed by an illegal alien, it wouldn't even make the mainstream media, right? But it was an ICE agent who had to act in self-defense, so now it's a big deal. But Tim Walz would be running for governor today if the fraud wasn't exposed. He is a crook, 100%, and he's running away from the accountability. I hope that the accountability comes. Donald Trump did tend to lean in and say accountability is on the way, though. I know there's the black pillars and the doomers out there, and I get it when they say nothing ever happens. Nobody's getting silver bracelets. I hope that isn't the case.
Attorney General for fraud. He's a fantastic young guy. He's so impassioned to do this properly. We intend to imprison any fraudster, politician, or public official involved in these sick plots to loot and pillage our country. Think of that Ilhan Omar. She lives in Somalia. They don't have a government. They don't have a military. They don't have police. They don't have anything. All they have is murder and robbing ships, bringing in ships, pirates. That's stopped. Same missile. Ping. That's the end of them. It's amazing how that can stop corruption. Those missiles, they never miss, The same one, exactly the same one. But think of it. She comes from a country with nothing, and she comes
here and she complains and she whines. She should be kissing the ground that she walks on, but she doesn't. And I believe Ilhan Omar also knew all about the fraud. I don't know how you didn't. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, we will be talking with our newly elected congressional representative, Matt Van Epps. How has it been being the new kid at school? We'll talk to Matt Van Epps on the way. Hang out with us. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're learning that some personnel at a military base in Qatar have been advised to evacuate by tonight, and some of those evacuations are now underway. Officials are saying it comes as a precaution after Iran brought up an earlier Iranian attack at that base. It's not clear if the evacuation is mandatory or optional, or if it affects troops or civilian personnel. That base hosts thousands of U.S. service members. The 2026 Tennessee legislative session is now underway. Williamson County State Senator Jack Johnson telling Dan Mandis that lawmakers are about to introduce legislation that puts Tennessee in line with the Trump administration by working with ICE.
Send a very clear message. If you come into this country illegally somehow, and Donald Trump is making that very difficult, but if you somehow manage to get into the country illegally, whatever you do not come to Tennessee.
A press conference is scheduled on that package of bills that lawmakers will unveil tomorrow. The Florida Department of Health is saying it bought 25 baby formulas randomly from stores and online and then tested them. Florida First Lady Casey DeSantis.
Those samples were tested for arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury. And what we found in those 24 samples was troubling. Of the 24 infant formulas tested, 16 of those formulas contained at least one, if not more, heavy metals that exceeded federal standards.
Now, Governor Ron DeSantis says he'll work with federal partners to hold manufacturers accountable. I've added that story to my X account so you can see which baby formulas tested high for heavy metals. Find me on X at Joan Jones WTN. That is the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. As your health insurance costs rising, well, you can thank the Democrats, but we can get it down a little bit lower, and then you'll be thanking Shane Ring. If you're tired of health insurance that feels like a math test, confusing percentages, surprise bills, fine print that bites back, Shane is going to make it simple. Cover Nash has a brand new nationwide PPO plan that will give you the freedom to pick your own doctors anywhere in the U.S., not like Obama, but seriously, no referrals, no red tape, just $250 deductible, flat $50 copay for any doctor, even specialist, outpatient surgeries, $250 copay, hospital stays, just $1,000 total, free preventative care, and here's the kicker: no surprise bills, no hidden fees, just real protection from real providers. And if that's not the right fit, there are 75 other companies that Shane works with that can fit your needs. Whatever they are, call Shane Ring today, 615-465-0023, 615-465-0023. Health insurance on your terms, not the government's. CoverNash.com. It's 10:35 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Excited to talk to our next guest. We haven't spoke to him since I believe it was the day of the election. Our newest congressional representative. He's still got that new congressional rep smell. Matt Van Epps joins us on the hotline. What's up, Matt? How are you?
Hey, Chris. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. Definitely some new car smell still. And just want to start by saying thank you to the voters and your listeners for giving me this opportunity to serve and fight for the Tennessee 7th Congressional District. It's what I think about every morning as I walk into the building, and when I leave at night is that here to fight and excited to be doing it already. And I do know how to get from the office to the House floor to vote now. So I think that's an initial win.
Let's go. We're talking with Matt Van Epps. So I got some questions about the world, but we'll get to that. I kind of want some inside baseball first, because normally when new congressional reps come in, it's like a class, and there's a whole group of you. You're coming in solo. Has it been tough to find people to sit with at lunch? Are there any bullies? What's the word on the street?
Yeah, that's a great question. Normally folks come in and they've got that, about basically 2 months to transition. They go through a couple-week course. We had 48 hours, and we are literally building the plane as we fly it. We should be fully staffed here in a couple of weeks, but we're just waiting for the last couple of folks to come on. But we're excited, and building relationships is, as you know, just so critical. So trying to move around the House floor and talk to new people every time I'm there, and just meet as many folks as possible. And Chris, I'll tell you, I think one of the things that has struck me about this is that there are just so many great members who care about our country, who want to do the right thing and just work really hard for their districts, for their states, and for our country, supporting the president and the speaker, and that has been something that's been really great to see.
Well, you say that you're still kind of filling out your staff, so I wonder, what is the learning curve like as you're coming in? And is the strategy to go in guns blazing and let everybody know Matt Van Epps is here? Or are you playing the background and kind of waiting and seeing for your moment? What's the strategy as you're kind of intertwining in Congress?
Yeah, another great question. I think it's a little bit of both. Mostly, trying to listen and learn and weigh in when the opportunity is right. And I think in a couple examples, although I did not have a choice on my initial committee assignments, I'm really excited about both. That's Homeland Security and Science, Space, and Technology, which I think have great potential impacts for our district. And we've had several hearings already. And being prepared with our team to go in with the 5 minutes of questions that we've been given, we've seen impacts already. We're able to drive conversation and do the congressional oversight piece and get results, which has been great. We had I've only done one hearing so far on Science, Space, and Technology, and it was on chemical competitiveness and innovation and how we stay out in front and counter China. And I've had a couple in Homeland Security, a domestic terrorism roundtable, and an annual threats hearing. And I'm both learning a lot and also we're doing the congressional oversight piece, and that part has been really great.
That's so cool, man. And I'm glad you're kind of getting your feet wet and you're dipping your toe in the pool there. But it leads me to my next question based on the committees that you're on. You're on Homeland Security and you're on Science, Space, and Technology. I got to ask about Venezuela, and I have to ask about, especially with your military background, directed energy weapons. We heard the press secretary tweeted out a report that was from a Maduro security guy who said that the United States military used directed energy weapons where it felt like they had a splitting headache, noses were bleeding, vomiting blood. They were down on the ground before they even knew what hit them because they didn't see anything coming. So what is the directed energy weapons capability of the United States military today? What do you know about directed energy weapons, and what's the conversation like? And how does that impact our strategy in South America, and how does it impact how other countries are viewing the United States today?
Well, yeah, Chris, when we look at Venezuela and we look at the force that was brought to bear there, and I think the president is just doing amazing work. And the first thing there was, again, it was peace through strength. It was trying to negotiate. It was trying to find a different solution there. And when that didn't happen, the president does what he says he's going to do, and he executed that peace through strength. And we saw over 120, 150 aircraft in a very complex mission come together and execute that in coordination with the Justice Department, and bringing just the full force of American power, both kinetic weapons, and that was the right strategy to achieve really a strategic objective without the loss of American life. And I'm so proud of that. I think specifically to your question on directed energy weapons, I'm not quite there yet in the work that I've done here, but I'm also eager to learn more about that as well. And I think what's important is that, when the administration, when the president looks at the strategy and looks at these missions, it's having all options on the table and all of our technology, and we're the best in the world. We're the absolute best in the world at this, kinetic and non-kinetic, and it is. I'm so proud of our teams that executed that mission using the full force of the American military.
During your time in the military, did you ever learn of or see directed energy weapons in action?
That no, Chris, that was not. As an Apache pilot, we were using kinetic weapons, 30 millimeter rockets, Hellfire missiles, and then my time flying 47s in 160th, we were supporting our special operations ground forces, and so it was not something that I was specifically responsible for or employing as a part of the missions that I had.
No, hey, I appreciate the answer and the honesty. I do respect your military service because I understand that you have taken live fire in military operations.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Yeah, we a number of times, and when I think back to those very formative experiences, it's been the full team that has responded under pressure and has done the work that we had to get done to accomplish that mission, to respond by delivering fire against the enemy and accomplishing our mission, because it was so critical in the work that we were doing. And I'm just so proud of those teams. And, that experience is a very helpful lens for this current job here.
Yeah, it looks like you're gearing up for another type of battle. This one towards the end of January, government shutdown. What are you hearing on the ground about a government shutdown? What is the discussions internally from the Republicans? And is it really going to be over funding for ICE?
Well, here's what I'm encouraged, because we are getting appropriations bills done, and to start to return to regular order. And that's the Speaker's objective, and we're doing that right now. We passed 4 appropriations bills last week. We've got 2 more that are going to be on the floor this week to cover national security and related programs and financial services and general government. And the great thing there is we return to regular order, where we have authorization bills, a budget, and then the appropriations bills. We're not fully there, but we're moving in that direction, and that will ensure that we move away from CRs. And so it's the absolutely right thing to do. One of the national security and related programs appropriations bill that will be on the floor this week is a conservative appropriations bill. It cuts funding by 16% to safeguard taxpayer dollars, while still prioritizing the core national security interests, eliminating waste without compromising safety. And so it's the right approach. It's in line with the administration's objectives. So I'm encouraged by the direction we're moving, and there's still work to be done.
Do you think the Democrats are going to hold this thing up, though, and shut down the government again?
I don't know. I'm hopeful that doesn't happen, and that we get these appropriations bills done, and we don't shut it down. That's my hope. But we'll see what happens here over the next couple of weeks.
Moving out of the country, Iran has been in the news big time. Again, this goes right in line with your military experience. Protests popping up all over the place. Apparently, the Iranian regime is mowing down these protesters. President Trump has been pretty hard saying that he's going to take action if he needs to. What are you hearing on Iran, and what are your thoughts on the entire situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just it's a really difficult situation. I hate that loss of life, and that regime that is doing that against peaceful protesters who just want what's right to be able to determine their future. And the president I think what's really important is having all options on the table, and the kinetic and non-kinetic. And the president, he means what he says. When we look back just a few months, he tried to get that regime to the negotiating table, and when they failed, he launched and executed the most decisive long-range strike in American history to destroy their nuclear program. And that should have been put the world on notice then that he means what he says. And I'm fully supportive of his actions in evaluating the situation and determining what needs to get done to achieve both national security, our national security interests, and in protecting the peaceful protesters there who want what's right for them and being able to determine their future in a democratic way.
You know, one of the talking points I've seen on the internet the past couple of days is how the president is in an uproar from the peaceful protesters being mowed down in Iran. Yet there was a peaceful protester in Minneapolis, Renee Nicole Good, who was mowed down by ICE. This is a leftist talking point. If a leftist voter or citizen brings that to you, what is your reaction and what is the difference?
Yeah, Chris. Well, I fully stand with law enforcement, with ICE, our federal teams that are out there. I was raised to respect law enforcement. They have a critical and very important job to do that is a legal job that they are executing. And there's a real difference here. ICE is doing incredible work. I think when we look in Tennessee, we look at Memphis, and the federal assets, ICE included, and the Department of Justice and their prosecutors are working with the Tennessee Highway Patrol and Tennessee's administration and local law enforcement, and we've seen great results. Crime is down overall. They're doing really amazing work, and I think that's really important. And I know the FBI is investigating what happened in Minnesota, and any loss of life is tragic. But we have got to support our law enforcement. We have got to support ICE in their critical mission. I think the number is 70% of the people that ICE have detained have either current criminal records or pending charges. And what we're finding, too, is that those are the people that we know about. As they've done the research, there are others who don't have charges in this country, but have either committed crimes in their country of origin or have done suspected of doing crimes, murder, rape, other things in their country. So, ICE has got a really critical and important mission right now. We have to support them. That's what's of interest in our national security and what protects our communities as well.
Well, I appreciate the answer. We're talking with 7th Congressional District Representative Matt Van Epps on the phone. Big news today. It was a report that was leaked last night by O'Keefe Media Group, a Secret Service agent on a Tinder date giving away operational security information to the Tinder date. Have you seen the report, and what are your thoughts on what should be done with the security agent, with the Secret Service agent?
I've not seen the report, but I'll just comment broadly that our national security sensitive information is just paramount, and it to keep that safeguarded, and it goes to the people that are on the ground that are we talk about sources and methods, and people that are from our military to our law enforcement who have massive responsibilities, and they are protecting themselves, the force protection piece, as they execute those missions. So I'll be eager to see what the investigation uncovers with all of that, but it's just so important to maintain our information, and so I'll be interested to see what the outcome there is, Chris.
Perfect, and I'd love to talk to you as you get more up to speed on that. We're talking with Congressional Rep Matt Van Epps. I think protecting 48 is a pretty big deal. Any closing thoughts as we wrap things up here? What were you surprised about in Congress? What are you working on next? What does Matt Van Epps do next?
Yeah, well, so I do want to mention just a couple of things, and thanks. So number one priority right now is world-class constituent services. Be able to listen and respond. Our field staff is up and running. Our D.C. office is up and running. We're about to finalize the actual district offices, still in Clarksville and Franklin. And that is really important to us as we're working with our teams, because we want to be highly responsive and work with constituents with the things that they need. We want to hear from constituents. We've got our Service Academy interviews that are happening right now. As a West Point guy, I'm just really excited and interested about that. So those are happening, and then we have a panel of folks that'll make those recommendations that'll meet this weekend. But, we're also looking at a number of things through the committees, through Homeland Security and Science, Space, and Technology that we can lead on. I think one of the big things that'll come out of Science, Space, and Technology this year is the NASA reauthorization, which is really cool. My first dream as a kid was to be an astronaut. So being on Science, Space, and Technology is getting close to that, I think.
There you go.
Really, really excited. But we've got to win the next race to the moon before China, and a key part to that is reauthorizing NASA. So that's exciting. There are a number of things in Homeland Security. It's a critical year, a critical couple years as we go to America 250 and FIFA World Cup, and the threats are out there, and we have to stay persistent and on top of those. So I'm excited to be a part of that team on Homeland Security and working those solutions. We're gonna work a veteran bill focused on Gold Star families. I talked about that on the campaign, and that's the first one that we're working. And so we're excited about that. More to follow there. Would love to come back on and talk more about that in the future. But, I think just overall, I'm eager and excited. It's hard to believe, too. We have relaunched now for our next campaign. So we're running again in 2026. And so that is moving forward.
What were your thoughts when you heard that Afton Bain was not going to be running against you again?
Yeah, I'm
Were you? Let's be honest. Were you a little bummed? Were you looking forward to beating her again?
I would. I think that's right, Chris. I mean, I think the distinction that it was just so clear in what we stand for and what she stood for. But we are we're going to continue to fight really hard. Whatever opponent is the Democrats put up, we're going to fight hard. And we're going to win. I'm really encouraged overall about the 2026 midterms. This will be, I think it's the first time maybe in 90 years that we'll hold the House. When we were talking about this at the conference meeting that we had this week. When you look at, Republicans are outpacing Democrats in fundraising, which is the first time that I think that's happened in, I don't know the time period, but quite a long time going into midterms. When we look at our momentum, when we look at the things that we are actually working to get, things that have gotten done, the things that we're working on getting done, there are real solutions for America. Working family tax cuts, I mean, you name it, actual strategies to reduce the cost of living. And I'm very encouraged by what we have going into the midterms.
Well, I'm here for it. Congressman Matt Van Epps, thank you for joining the show and looking forward to speaking with you again, sir.
Yes, sir. Chris, thank you so much. Thanks for what you do and look forward to being on again.
Likewise. 1054. You too, sir. 1054 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You know they're going to be at the Murfreesboro Home Expo show. Is that what it's called? The Murfreesboro Home Expo? That's happening at the Miller Coliseum this weekend. I'm going to be hanging out with the Busy Bee guys on Friday, right around 2 o'clock. I'm going to be getting there. I told them, I said, it's going to be around 2. We juggle about 4 children right around the same time. So it's going to be 2-ish. I'm going to be getting there, hanging out with my Busy Bee guys for a couple of hours, and we want to see you down there. Busy Bee, they are the best. Winter's here. I mean, you felt it this morning. January, February means cold temps, possible snow. Are you ready for the stress that puts on your home system? Well, if you're not, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they're going to get you up to speed. If you need a new HVAC right now, 0% financing for 18 months, a complimentary UV light treatment with any new system install, and a free 5-year labor upgrade. That's a $750 value. If you got plumbing needs, you get the same 0% financing, plus a free 50-gallon water heater with select repipes, or $600 off if that doesn't apply. Busy Bee just wants to save you money, and they'll do it through the Beehive Club membership all month long. You buy one Beehive Club membership, you get one for free. That's Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, we got some stuff in the way. They're called crashes. One is on the right shoulder, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Another one in Murfreesboro, 840 southbound there at Sulphur Springs Road. Then Woodbine, a crash reported 24 westbound at 440. And in Antioch, a crash, right shoulder block 24 westbound at Haywood Lane. Got the full forecast here in 5 minutes. New WARN notices reveal major job losses coming to Wilson and Bedford counties. State labor officials say Smoky Mountain Logistics will close its Wilson County facility, laying off 145 people at the end of February. Another 80 jobs will be eliminated when Linamar Shelbyville shuts down its Bedford County operation July 31st. Both companies have filed permanent closure notices with the state. A woman is dead after what deputies called a targeted shooting in Wilson County. Investigators searching for the shooter. Happened Monday night just south of Lebanon Road, east of Tulip Grove Road. This is between Hermitage and Mount Juliet. No suspect information has been released as the investigation continues. Tennessee's only woman on death row is suing the state to stop her upcoming execution. Krista Pike argues the state's lethal injection protocol could cause her to drown in her own blood due to a rare blood clotting cancer. And personnel at the U.S. Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar have been advised to evacuate as a precaution amid escalating anti-government protests in Iran. The base was previously targeted by Iranian missiles last June following U.S. strikes on nuclear facilities. Ian Pannell reports from Istanbul.
The Iranian regime is reverting to type, using massive lethal force against unarmed civilians, rounding up thousands it accuses of treason and, as it has done repeatedly in the past, planning to execute many of them. It appears some protests are ongoing, but the regime's brutal tactics do appear to be working.
Yeah, the death toll from major anti-government protests in Iran is topped 2,500 people, according to a U.S.-based human rights group. Right now in our nation's capital, Illinois, Democratic Representative Robin Kelly says she has the backing of 70 other members of Congress to try to give the boot to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
She needs to be held accountable for her actions. This is why I introduced 3 articles of impeachment against Secretary Noem.
The 3 articles include obstruction of Congress, violation of public trust, and self-dealing in the wake of the ICE-involved shooting death of Renee Good in Minneapolis. Meanwhile, Stephen Portnoy has another development.
A week after the incident, sources now tell ABC News the officer who fired the shots was treated for internal bleeding in his torso. Administration officials have insisted Jonathan Ross was struck by Renee Good's vehicle. His own recording indicates he held his cell phone in one hand and his pistol in the other as Good began to drive forward. Ross was immediately driven from the scene by fellow officers. Officials later said he was taken to a hospital for treatment.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
It's 11:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You guys ready for some inside baseball? Are you ready for this?
Oh.
Matt Van Epps wasn't supposed to call in until tomorrow.
Yeah, I was a little confused.
Dude, it threw me so off. That's why I didn't pre-sell it at all, because he wasn't. I mean, at least he wasn't late. I think I think we can lean on that. He was early. The latest Matt Van Epps is going to be is on time, but it was scheduled. I wasn't going to give him grief. Here's the thing. I don't like scheduling interviews far out in advance.
Yeah.
And I don't, as far as I know, none of the shows here do that. Like we have like the recurring, and people have recurring bits, but that's a little different. Like when I talk to representatives, I want to talk to them like the next day because something happened that I want input on.
It's fresher. They're not preparing all their statements ahead of time, blah, blah, blah.
But Van Epps is still new, so they were like, hey, we're doing X and Y. Is there any way that we could push this out a week? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, that's cool. Because I figured no matter what's happening, I could ask those new Congress questions, right? Because I think that's interesting. And at least, I don't know, I think it's interesting. Maybe others don't. But I love the inside baseball. But yeah, he was supposed to call in on Thursday.
Great interview.
I thought
I think everything went well.
That was that's what you call a no prep interview. I just like, all right, bro, let's roll. Because like it was what were we were just hitting the news at 10:30.
Yeah.
And boom, it's Van Epps on the hotline. And both Mason and I are like, wait, what?
Yeah, I looked at Chris and was like, isn't he in tomorrow?
So I even went back through the text and made sure that I didn't screw something up, because that was my first thought. I was like, oh, I screwed that up.
Yeah.
Nope. Just Matt Van Epps showing up early, ready to work.
Appreciate the motivation.
I thought he was cool, man. Listen, I'm here for it. I'm here for. I like how he said he's going to pay attention to what his constituents want.
Yeah,
world class. What do you say? World class constituency care or service?
I'll find it.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Listen to the podcast if you missed it. It'll be on the website later today.
Yep. Also later today, I got some great stories in the lightning round. That's coming up at 11:35.
You started the day off with the Diddy Bowl. You can only go up from there.
The Diddy Bowl, in case you haven't been keeping score at home, the Diddy Cup Series, as it's also being referred to, the Predators and the Oilers, now even at 1 win apiece. The culmination of the Diddy Bowl, the climax, if you will, the finish. That will be on March 15th.
Let's bring this ship home.
Let's listen. You only have one chance to win the Diddy Cup. All right? We're not sure if the Preds are going to make the playoffs. It's like the NBA in-season tournament. This is the next best thing.
Yeah, it's like they finally have something good sports-wise going on in March. Like there's normally nothing like
enjoyable. Nothing sports-wise happening in March, but at least we'll get the finale of the Diddy Cup.
Diddy Cup for sure.
Yeah, people will be excited to
Everybody will be like, oh, finally a good sports thing to tune in for.
Yeah, nobody pays attention to sports in March.
No,
there's nothing going on. So we'll have the culmination of the Diddy Cup, the big finish.
Yeah,
Game 3.
Big hype.
Predators versus Oilers. Get your bets in. Get your bets in on the Diddy Cup.
I wish they can get Diddy at the event.
I just wish they played more so I could make the joke more often.
Those teams specifically?
Yeah. For the record, I didn't come up with a joke. It was the internet. The internet's undefeated. Saw it on the internet. I said, mentioning that on the show.
Yep, that's going to grab that one.
Predators versus Oilers last night. The Predators won because like the goalie ran away from the net. Did you see that?
Really?
So it was overtime. And the goalie just said, you know what? Screw this. And he just like ran away from the goal.
From the other team, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the Oilers. The Oilers. He decided not to do his job anymore.
What was the final score?
I think it was 5-4 or 4-3. Hold on, I got it here. I got the results of the Diddy Cup. 4-3. 4-3 in overtime for the Diddy Cup.
Was he even chasing anything or just off?
Some guy was coming in on a breakaway and like he ran away from the goal.
Yeah.
And then the guy passed it and it was just like a shot on an empty net.
Just clean up.
Like, congrats.
Nice and open.
You played yourself. So that was the results of the Diddy Cup series last night.
You're dang fool.
Yep. Congratulations. You've played yourself. What was the other thing we were going to talk about? We had something else that was like inside baseball that I said we wanted to talk about.
Talked about Van Epps. We talked about the Diddy Bowl. We talked about.
Oh my gosh, it was the reel I sent you.
Oh yeah,
AI is getting so advanced, dude.
Yeah, it has to deal with our favorite Alex Jones.
So AI, one of my favorite things they're doing now is they're putting different characters in different sets. That doesn't make any sense. So I found one, and it was Alex Jones, and he had a big prize. He was filling in for Bob Barker on The Price is Right. This is all AI generated, and he's like, they are fabulous, and the show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
BetterWater.com, 55 years in the business of protecting the frogs.
Does that mean that? Sorry, real quick. Sorry, does that mean that the guy in the post is the opposite of Alex Jones?
I don't know. It's a bizarro world. AI is getting way too advanced. Have you seen like
John Alex and something? I don't know.
One of my other favorite things is they're doing like historical characters in a wrestling ring cutting promos. Have you seen this?
Yeah, those are good.
One was Martin Luther King Jr. and he joined the NWO with Hulk Hogan.
Really?
And he cut this promo where he's like, I have a dream, and you're going to have a dream later when I knock you out. It's like, I'm here for this.
Jeez.
I saw one where it was Mr. Rogers, and he was also becoming a bad guy in wrestling. And he was like, screw your neighborhood. And he's like yelling at little kids. It was awesome.
I saw one short one where it's just Abe Lincoln taken from the top rope off onto George Washington. And I was like, that's all I need.
AI is going to be so damaging for the big like movie houses, right? Like but for the actual creators, there's going to be like a renaissance. Like for the creatives out there, there's going to be a renaissance in what they're able to do and how quickly they're able to do it.
Yeah, I go back and forth on it because a lot of AI, it's built off of the backs of studying other art that's on the internet. And so if you have big art accounts or if you have big like movie accounts that you've made and copy certain like styles from certain people, it's like, oh, these people worked really, really hard and I could plug in a prompt and steal that art almost identical and just make it whatever I want.
Yeah.
That's what frustrates me because especially when you talk on a creative aspect, it kind of kills the momentum of some people who have worked years to get to that point. And all I have to do is plug in a prompt and copy the exact same thing that they did.
There you go. This is Mason just ruining all the fun.
Yeah.
But the prompts matter.
They do matter.
And somebody
would you call yourself an artist for putting in a prompt without doing the work?
No, but you are a creative if you write an entire script and you make like a hella good Batman movie.
Yeah.
But you don't have the budget for the actors. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I understand that. Yeah,
I think the movie companies are in trouble.
It'll be weird.
It'll be weird. You know that Glenn Beck is doing like AI newscast now?
Yeah.
Which is really weird. I don't know how I feel about that. That's when it starts getting a little personal for me.
Yeah.
Although I do think people are going to want to talk to people.
Oh, for sure.
At the end of the day, like the radio in general is always about that one-to-one connection, so I'm not as fearful there. But it's spooky, guys. It's spooky. And then there's the whole Terminator, end of the world, robots taking over aspect of it.
I'm waiting till our station gets called on the hotline by someone who is just full AI voice.
Dude, would we even know?
Yeah, like that's what I'm wondering. It's like we could have a full conversation and then someone else trades out the phone. Hey, by the way,
what if that wasn't Matt Van Epps calling? That was like Matt calls tomorrow at 10:30. He's like, "What are you talking about? I never called.
I wasn't on. What are you talking about?"
Right? Theoretically, that could happen.
Absolutely could happen. That would blow me out of the water there.
Wouldn't that be weird if like some guy with the AI technology could do it in real time and like heard like Murphy say, "Hey, tomorrow on the show we got Senator Blackburn," and then it's like, it should be on at 3:30, but she calls in at 3:05, or she'll be on at 4:30, she calls in at 3:30, and then Murphy's or it could happen to me or Manus. We're like, oh, the time difference from DC, wires cross. Let me get him on, and you have a whole interview with somebody. And like she just says outlandish things, and then an hour later she calls in. I don't feel like
where are you calling back?
I don't feel like we're too far away from that.
Especially with the ability to use other people's numbers.
Yeah, you could
like
spoof.
scam call
You could spoof everything.
Yeah,
spooky.
Now I'm scared.
Should I preface my next all my interviews with like, you're sure you're not a robot?
Yeah. Can you fill out this CAPTCHA for me real quick?
Click here to prove you're a human before we get into the interview, please, sir.
How many tires are in this image?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Click all the images with buses.
Nope. Sorry. There were 4 bikes in that image. You only put 3.
We're really like, that could happen. It's crazy.
Man.
But hey, better us than China, right?
Yeah.
Better us than China. Yeah. It's true. It's true. The Supreme Court yesterday, a lot of arguments about upholding red state bans on men in women's sports. Riley Gaines was on Fox News as arguments were kicking off, laying out the point like, we're not fighting for anything crazy. The fight in front of us is for the bare minimum, and I think that's important to point out. The ask here isn't crazy. It's very, very small.
Well, I'll tell you, Dana, this day is exciting. It is long overdue, but truthfully, I'm irritated. I'm irritated that we have to be here at all. Let me be very, very clear on what the Supreme Court is going to be hearing today. They're not going to be hearing oral arguments on if states must allow women to have sex-based rights and equality. That's not what they're hearing. They're deciding on if states even can allow for women to have rights. We are fighting for the bare minimum, it seems here, Dana.
Yep.
Nonetheless, of course, I recognize this as a fantastic step in the right direction.
She's right. I mean, it is a step in the right direction. If you listen to any of the arguments, it does seem like the Supreme Court is going to uphold that ban, because the arguments that are coming out, it's just like, are we really doing this? Like, you got Alito asking an ACLU lawyer yesterday, what is a man and what is a woman? And I'm like, does the Supreme Court really have to waste their time with this? And sorry, sir, last time I checked, it's 2026, and yes, we do. And I also, maybe it's just me, but I noticed that it seemed to me that a lot of the lawyers on the side of the transgender athletes seem to be members of the Rainbow Mafia. I don't know if that affects their decision-making or anything at all, but the arguments were just, like, insane.
Girls.
Yes, Your Honor.
If it does that, then is it not necessary for there to be, for equal protection purposes, if that is challenged under the Equal Protection Clause, an understanding of what it means to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition? For equal protection purposes, what does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was, the policy, the law, we'd have to have an understanding of how the state or the government was just understanding that term to figure out whether or not someone was excluded.
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. The question was, what is a man and what is a woman? Bro, listen. I have no idea. This is not my area of expertise. As you can see, I'm a lawyer. I'm not a biologist.
We do not have a definition for the court, and we don't take issue with we're not disputing the definition here. What we're saying is that the way it applies in practice is to exclude birth sex males categorically from women's teams, and that there's a subset of those birth sex males where it doesn't make sense to do so according to the state's own interest.
Well, how can a court determine whether there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes?
I think here we just know that we basically know that they've identified pursuant to their own statute, Lindsay qualifies as a birth sex male, and she's being excluded categorically from the women's teams as the statute. So we're taking the statute's definitions as we find them, and we don't dispute them. We're just
how do we make this determination if we don't know what it is? It's the only kryptonite for these leftists. You just ask reasonable questions. The lawyers weren't the worst. They weren't. The worst was Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is the diversity hire on the court. Don't ever forget it. Joe Biden came out and said, I'm going to pick a black woman. And then everybody was like, stunning and brave, sir, stunning and brave. And then instead of, picking like an extremely qualified black woman, we got this.
This notion that this is really just about the definition of
we accept that you can separate boys and girls, and we are now looking at the definition of a girl, and we're saying only people who were girl assigned at birth qualify.
And yep. Is that an issue? That's an issue for Ketanji Brown Jackson. It does look like the Supreme Court is going to err on the side of sanity, and the states that have banned men and women's sports, those bans will be upheld, Lord willing. 11:22. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. New special going on for the new year, 47% off spinal decompression right now at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated or bulging discs, knee pain, numbness in your arms or legs, you need to call my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, the team over there, unbelievable. And they're actually the first and only office in Tennessee with a brand new machine called the HydroWave. The HydroWave is going to stimulate stem cells for real cellular healing, no surgery, no needles, no opioids. You pair that with the non-surgical spinal and knee decompression, and this is advanced as it gets. They're going to use anti-gravity machines. They're going to use robot lasers. They're going to take the time to review your MRI and explain what's happening, but not just that, how to fix it. Start a pain-free life. 2026 is your year. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. Or book some time online. Painisbad.com.
All right, drivers in Murfreesboro got a crash report at 840 southbound. This is going to be right there at Sulphur Springs Road. And in Rural Hill, rolling roadblocks, right lane blocked due to potholes, 24 eastbound before Bell Road. And in Antioch, a crash. Antioch Pike just south of Franklin Limestone Road. Two Middle Tennessee employers are announcing layoffs. This story and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. It's 11:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. A couple of super texters came up with the best way to make sure we're not interviewing AI politicians. Do you know what it is? As well, Brian said. A couple people said code word. Brian said you need a safe word.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right.
You know what he meant.
We got Congressman Matt Van Epps on the phone. What's the safe word? Then Matt Van Epps has to say pineapple juice on the air.
Yeah, does that mean he wants to pull out of the interview, or does that mean he's ready to go?
Matt, what's the safe word? Pineapple juice, Chris, pineapple.
All
I
right,
might actually make them do that.
I'm here for it.
We might need to do that for a bit. Imagine if I could get different politicians to say random words before we start the interview.
That'd be so funny.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Just hearing Andy Ogle trying to slip in the word archipelago into his first statements.
Senator Blackburn, what is the password? She goes, I am Polymeropolis. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thank you.
Perfect.
We can now continue with the interview. All right, perfect.
I'm here for it.
This is why we got to have the super texters. I wouldn't have thought of the safe word.
That's so good.
So good. You guys are the best part of the show. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the show. 615-737-9986. Some information's coming out about the ICE agent who shot the leftist vehicle rammer, Renee Nicole Good, in Minneapolis. This is per DHS. It was just reported that he suffered internal bleeding to the torso after, as leftists would put it, he didn't get hit by the vehicle. Huh. That's a bit strange. That's a bit weird. You would have to get hit by a car to suffer internal bleeding in the torso, right? Huh. That's strange. Also, did you hear Joe Rogan called the ICE agents the Gestapo? Did you see that? He said the ICE agents are turning into the bad guys. Joe Rogan did. Again, I think it's important to point out, if Renee Nicole Good was killed by an illegal alien, you probably wouldn't even hear her name, except on this radio station, right? Right? Am I right? If Renee Nicole Good was killed and raped by an illegal alien, the left wouldn't give a damn. There would be no protests. There would be no riots. There would be nothing. But ICE is the Gestapo, according to Joe Rogan. DHS's Tricia McLaughlin, spokesperson for DHS, said this is ridiculous and fired back at Joe Rogan.
In this case, deadly consequences.
Yeah, and there's litigation that has gone through the courts that does weigh in for the federal government's role here. Joe Rogan, he's got questions about what's happening, and it's probably echoing what many people are thinking. So let's listen to him and get your reaction.
I see the perspective of the people that say, hey, there was an illegal program moving people in here to get votes, moving people in here to get congressional seats, and we've got to change that. I can also see the point of view of the people that say, yeah, but you don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
So I know you and I talk a lot about communications and PR, and how would the department respond to that concern that he raised?
Well, this answer is very straightforward. If Tim Walz, if Mayor Fry would let us in their jails, we wouldn't have to be there at all.
Thank you. I mean, that's all you need to know. The reason there are operations happening in the street is because governors and mayors of sanctuary states and sanctuary cities won't let ICE in their prisons and jails. That's why. The reason that they're in the streets, Biden let an invasion happen, and the Democrats don't want it cleaned up. 11:31, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, drivers got a crash reported westbound 840 there at Sulphur Springs Road. And in Rural Hill, we've got rolling roadblocks. The right lane blocked for pothole repair, 24 eastbound, right before Bell Road. Full forecast in 5 minutes. Two Middle Tennessee employers plan shutdowns that's going to leave about 300 people out of work by summer. Smoky Mountain Logistics plans to close its Wilson County site February 28th, impacting 145 people. Linamar Shelbyville will follow later in the year, cutting about 80 jobs when it shuts down July 31st. The layoffs disclosed and new warn notices filed with the state. Death row inmate Krista Pike fighting to delay her execution, claiming Tennessee's lethal injection method would cause her extreme suffering. Pike has a rare blood cancer that affects her platelet levels, and experts say the drugs used could trigger severe bleeding in her lungs. She would basically drown to death. If her execution proceeds, Pike would be the first woman put to death in Tennessee in more than 200 years. Right now in the Middle East, some personnel at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar are being moved out of harm's way as Iran's protests intensify and the regime warns of potential retaliation against U.S. locations. And Flaherty reports.
These are non-mission essential personnel. This is one of the largest air bases in this region. This is a forward center for the U.S. Central Command, which commands all military forces in the region. It's kind of the nerve center for all air operations in the Middle East. And it was the one that was attacked last summer after Iran wanted to launch retaliatory strikes against the United States.
U.S. officials call the evacuation again a precaution, offering few details due to operational concerns. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Hey, it's Chris Hand here from my friends at Zero Res Nashville. Start 2026 off with a fresh, clean carpet. If you're like me, you got a lot of kids, got a lot of pets, and they're always tracking in dirt and mud. But you don't want to clean the carpets with nasty chemicals that are going to leave behind residue. This is where Zero Res comes in. They're the Maha of carpet cleaning. They're not using those chemicals. They're using their exclusive ZR water, which is unbelievable. No harsh chemicals, no soap, no residue, which means the carpets and the upholstery don't just look insanely clean. They're going to stay clean longer. And then the kids can roll around and we don't have to stress. And it's not just carpets. They're doing air ducts. They're doing tile. They're doing rugs. They're doing upholstery. The works. Perfect if you're dealing with the same kind of stuff that we're dealing with. It's been raining a lot. Your kids tracking in mud? Call Zero Res Nashville. Right now, you can get 2 rooms of carpet plus a hallway or stairs for $129, 3 rooms of carpet plus a hallway or stairs for $149. All you got to do is give Zero Res a buzz. 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. I trust these guys. They do a great job. You can trust them too. ZeroResNashville.com. It's 11:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, you get them at betterwater.com. We were talking about AI a lot, and I'm still laughing about the safe words for interviews. I'm going to try and do that. I don't know who I do it with first.
I was going to say do it with T-Fault, but he's in person.
He comes in. He could be a robot.
He could be a robot. You've seen those Elon Musk robots.
I bet you they have robots that look like humans. We don't even know.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
I've seen Mission Impossible. They can make those masks look real.
100%. Have you seen the weird masks when they're like robbing banks, but you look like somebody of a different ethnicity?
Yeah.
Spooky.
It's a little weird.
Spooky. I kind of want to get one of those masks.
You would.
I do.
I'm just kidding.
There's a lot of stuff I want to get where I'm like, this is really inappropriate. But
yeah, I can't wear this outside of the house.
Do you remember when Kanye released the swastika shirt?
Yeah.
I thought about getting one because I thought, like, if you save this, it might be worth money later.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I did. I'm not going to wear it, obviously. But I thought, it's like, this is like a weird piece of pop culture history.
Yeah.
The time that Kanye went insane and made a swastika shirt.
The time that Kanye turned into a racist bigot.
Yeah. It's just like a weird moment. And then also like it would be hilarious like down the road if like I died and like my great grandkids are cleaning out my stuff and they're like, what the hell is this? And it's like I'd get a good chuckle. So I wanted to get one of those, but I made the fatal mistake. I ran it by Virginia.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments where you should have asked for forgiveness and not permission.
I can imagine you getting it, putting it on while she's out with the kids, and then she walks home.
I wouldn't have even taken it out of the packaging. Like it would have just gone into storage.
But also, it would have been really funny if like she comes home, she's like, "Chris, where are you?" It's like, "Oh, I'm in the bedroom." She walks in, and you just turn around. There's just a giant swastika on your chest. She just looks at you and goes, "No, no."
Based. Whoa,
no.
Virginia, calm down. I did.
We don't do that in this house.
I thought it would be funny if the great grandkids are cleaning up my stuff one day after I pass. And they're all so sad. You know what I mean? Like everybody's like, oh, great grandpa Chris was like, he was the best. And like, he set us up for the future. He did all these things. Like, oh my gosh, what a great guy. And like, what the heck is this?
I didn't know he collected German relics. And it's like, no, that tag says 2022.
I thought it would be funny. I know. I got a warped sense of humor. I know not everybody agrees. 11:41. It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
We do it every day this time. We run through all the stories that we didn't get a chance to get to, stories that we wanted to cover, but we kind of ran out of time, or they wouldn't fill a whole segment. We call it the lightning round.
Ooh, watch your knife hand there.
Yeah, dude, be careful. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, I dropped a knife hand, so look out because it could get you.
I need like a karate, like whoopah every time.
Isn't Denmark and Greenland? They're talking to Rubio and Vance today.
Yeah, they are.
You think anybody got the knife hand?
Probably. Well, actually, they're probably better behaved than Zelensky.
We protect everybody in NATO. Say thank you.
Thank you.
That was one of the greatest moments of all time.
So funny.
But imagine, that was just a few months ago.
Yeah.
And it's almost like just forgotten about.
Feels like that happened 3 years ago.
Think about what has transpired since then. It's just insane. The way the pace that this administration moves is insane. All right, first story in the lightning round. Lolita Express connoisseur Bill Clinton under contempt of Congress after ignoring a bipartisan subpoena. James Comer has put him in contempt of Congress. He was talking about it. Was this yesterday or the day before? I believe this was yesterday.
Unanimously by the committee in a bipartisan manner, we will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress. Yeah, good job. With that,
that one guy was hype. You hear that one guy?
Yeah, sounded like
it's like, yeah, Bongino. That would be me. If I was, that sounds like something I would do off mic.
So with that,
You say, hold on, let's go back.
Yeah, I was like, you got to rewind that.
President Clinton in contempt of Congress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job. It was 10:07 a.m. yesterday. The House Oversight Committee Council initiated the deposition of President William J. Clinton Slick Willie, noting for the record that he was not present. Exhibit materials included prior communications from Clinton's attorney, David Kendall, acknowledging the receipt of the original subpoena in August, and a follow-up letter from Chairman Comer on December 15, 2025, warning that the failure to appear could trigger contempt of Congress proceedings. As of 10:10 a.m. yesterday, Clinton's seat remained empty, Breitbart reports. Chairman James Comer added, "It's a shame President Clinton failed to appear in accordance with our duly authorized congressional subpoena. The Oversight Committee will now initiate contempt of Congress proceedings against the former president for defying the law." Yeah, good job.
Give me Bongino vibes whenever he was in that interview, and he's like, "What's your first thing?" And he's like, "I'm going after pedophiles." And they're like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
oh yeah,
oh yeah."
They're ready for it. Take him down.
Did he go back to radio? When's he going back to radio?
I don't know.
Because he's not going back to FM radio.
No,
he's going digital only.
Yeah,
but his first show, I think, it's coming up, right? When's Bongino's first show?
It's within the next week, I think.
I don't know, man.
Are you searching it?
Yeah, I'm curious what people think of that. Did he lose credibility going to the FBI, or did he run up against a brick wall, and it's not really his fault?
Yeah, I wonder if people are thinking that once he gets back on the show, he'll be able to share a lot of things that he wasn't allowed to do, or something like that.
I don't think I don't think he would. Why would he throw the administration under the bus?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he will. But I'm thinking that's what people are going to anticipate. Be like, oh, he left on bad terms. Maybe he's got some stuff to share.
His first show back is February 2nd.
Okay, so 2 weeks?
Yeah. 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
February 2nd.
February.
And pronounce the R.
Yeah, I always forget it.
You gotta remember it. It's a hard R.
Yeah. Fool.
Say the hard R.
Say it.
Say it.
Say the hard R.
That's a nasty one. That's nasty.
Mr. Bongino, do you prefer using the hard R in February?
I'm in danger.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. People like it. I'll listen. I'll listen to his first show back.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
He's calling out a bunch of black pillars and doomers and grifters.
Yeah, I think he'll get a good pop off with that for sure.
People are firing back at him though. People are firing back. They're wondering where the Epstein files are. I get it. Another story for you here in the lightning round. It was yesterday at speaking of Epstein. It was yesterday at the Ford factory that a gentleman decided to scream at the president, and he yelled "pedophile protector," and President Trump mouthed "F you," and then he gave him the finger, which I thought was pretty based. I'm not going to lie. Reuters has the report. U.S. President Donald Trump raised his middle finger and appeared to direct profanity at a factory worker who expressed criticism of his handling of the Jeffrey Epstein controversy at Michigan auto plant on Tuesday. Video circulating online showed the entertainment site TMZ published the video first, capturing the exchange, and the White House did not dispute its authenticity. Like, yeah, that's our guy. Sorry. Like, why would they dispute the authenticity of that? They said a lunatic wildly screaming expletives in a complete fit of rage, and the president gave an appropriate and unambiguous response, White House spokesman Stephen Chung told Reuters in an email. It's Reuters, right? Reuters? I think it's Reuters.
I think it's Reuters.
Stephen Chung is unabashedly based on social media, by the way. Trump is touring the Ford F-150 assembly facility in Dearbornistan, if you're keeping score at home, when a worker on the plant floor shouted what sounded like "pedophile protector" as the president stood on an elevated walkway. The video showed Trump turned to the individual, appeared to respond with an expletive before making a hand gesture with his middle finger as he walked off. It wasn't a thumbs up this time. No, it was not. He gave him the finger. Apparently the guy got suspended, and now he's got a GoFundMe going. It's pretty wild. We'll keep you updated on that story. I don't know what else there is to update on it, but the Ford executive chairman, Bill Ford, he was sweating bullets over this. He said, that was 6 seconds out of an hour tour. This poor guy is so embarrassed. That was 6 seconds out of an hour tour. The tour went great. I think he really enjoyed it, and we did too, other than the part where they had an outlandish employee. Bound to happen. President Trump didn't seem to be bothered by it. He just gave the finger and kept on walking. Another story for you here in the lightning round. In the lightning round. Talked a lot about the Diddy Cup Series today, the Predators and the Oilers, but it's not our only hockey story. There is a wild thing happening at the Hershey Bears hockey game. Did you see this? So the Hershey Bears, I believe, are an AHL team. And if you're watching on the YouTube stream, have you ever been to a minor league hockey game? I think they do this at the Preds too. But they do it a lot at minor league games, and they'll have the little kids play between periods, right? And it's cute, it's adorable. They get the little peewee hockey guys, the midget leagues, and they'll try and score goals. After this Mites hockey game, in between periods at the Hershey Bears turned into a full-out brawl, they decided that they needed to launch an investigation. It's insane. Are you seeing this video?
Yeah, that's
the best part. Is that that blue team's? Oh yeah, the goalie comes in and gets in the mix. There's nothing better than a hockey fight with a goalie, but these kids were getting it. They said when fans came out to the Hershey Bears at the Giant Center in Hershey, they got a spectacle they were not prepared for during the intermission. Fans were told they were going to watch some cute 8-year-olds play a little exhibition game. Instead, they got a really cute 8-year-old brawl.
Hey, if you're going to get thrown in the penalty box.
I mean, it's amazing. It doesn't look like they're throwing... Like I feel like this is all staged.
Yeah, especially because no ref has jumped in yet.
Yeah, no adults are getting in the mix.
Yeah,
the coaches didn't clear the benches to break it up. I think somebody thought this was going to be funny. USA Hockey official David Fisher did not think it was funny at all. He's like, this is not hilarious. What are you doing? Fighting is not allowed in youth leagues. He said, this guy doesn't want to have any fun. Doesn't want to have any fun. I understand he had to make a statement, but he said, we do not condone in any way, shape, or form what happened. This is not how young athletes are supposed to experience the game. I bet you there were a lot of kids in the audience that thought, dude, I definitely want to play hockey.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I bet you they got some converts to ice hockey that weren't thinking about it before.
Oh, I could throw my fists at people and not get yelled at. The only thing I have to do is sit down and time out for a little bit.
Listen, there is this is probably the second most important recruiting video for youth hockey out there. The first being the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
The second is whatever the hell happened at the Hershey Bears game. The outlet said, hold on. The January 10th event apparently wasn't the first time this youth league had ended up on an on-ice fight, according to the Independent Journal Review. And news outlets say that an investigation is now underway. The outlet says the Atlantic Amateur Hockey Association is now reviewing just what is going on with this youth organization. In addition, the Central Penn Panthers Club is also investigating practices and past events to see just what these tykes are being taught. It's like they went to the Happy Gilmore School of Hockey. It's awesome.
It's ready for a brawl.
So I read a couple tweets that said that this was like planned and they were all goofing off and like this was a big joke. I don't know how true that is.
I don't know. Some of those slugs look a little personal.
Yeah. Got to make it look real.
Especially with that goalie.
The goalie. I mean, he levels that kid.
Just comes in out of nowhere and just bam.
And then how about that one kid who's like literally just trying to put the puck back in play? He's like,
all right, guys.
Like there's 8 kids on the ice, and the majority of them are fighting. One of them's working on stick handling.
Hey, he's got his priorities in check.
I just love it. I mean, they're diving on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a goalie just going at it. It's just unbelievable. If you missed the video, you can find it on my Twitter account at Chris Hand on Air. I'll retweet it right now. 16.2 million views. Do you ever think the Hershey Bears have had more social media impact than they have after this? I had no idea the Hershey Bears existed.
I don't think they did either. But
Knew
now
about
we
the
do.
Hershey Squirts, not the Hershey Bears. 11:53, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:58, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Mason Fleming producing, Ken Weaver in the newsroom, Chad Benson joining in studio. And your family's all in the hockey biz.
They are.
So we spent the commercial break watching the little kid fight.
It was awesome.
The Hershey Bears.
It was awesome.
Was
Kids
it, right?
throwing blows. It was hilarious. No parents
So
around
funny.
whatsoever.
Right? So that was set up.
Oh, yeah, totally. They're looking into it, and everybody's all upset. I'm like, why? First of all, you could go out there and swing as hard as you can with those sticks. Those kids are so done up in stuff. It's hilarious.
I would literally, so we've played hockey. We've done the little Preds over in Antioch, which I don't know if you know this, but it's an awesome program. Like, they'll give you basically all the pads for free.
Yeah.
Like, you pay $100. And like, growing up in Boston, dude, it's like $1,000 to get started in hockey. And then to pay for all the ice time and stuff. Like, it's an expensive sport. So to be able to do that, and how many friends did you have growing up where they're like, you get the pads, they get out there on the ice one time, they're like, I hate this.
Oh.
And it's like, well, you're finishing the season, young man.
See, but it was different because where you grew up, hockey was everywhere.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, I knew 2 kids as a kid growing up who ever even touched ice.
But these kids, I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, it was hilarious. They were out there having a good time. It's nothing. It's fun. So was the crowd. The crowd was going crazy.
So but to your point with the pads, I would get Brooks and all of his hockey gear, and I would just go, helmet check, boom, and I'd knock him on the helmet. He's like, we're good.
We're good.
We're
Cup
good.
check.
Cup check. Yeah,
Oh, that
exactly.
is
What are you
awesome.
talking about today?
Oh, we got One Hit Wonder Wednesday. We're going to have some fun with that. We got some Crazy White Woman Wednesday where white progressive women tell us how horrible we are, and we laugh at some of the insanity that they say.
I love it.
That kind of stuff.
All right, Chad's in next. It's 12 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.